Thank you. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another Around the Pound. And I will be your host. And I will be your host this week. I am Marcus Shadow. Joining me, of course. Thank you. Joining me, of course, Mr. James Phoenix.
Hello.
And over there, hovering above the wrestling ring, holding a fake belt, is Chris, aka the Mole.
Thank you.
It's not a fake belt, it's a retro belt.
Yeah, we'll point out that's not a fake belt. That is actually the old belt.
Fair enough.
That is the WWE Eagle belt.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Also, I do apologize. There's been some weird internet issues between us recently. We apologize in advance if there's some weird lag or other problems going on in this video at any point.
Fair enough. And it is live, so shit happens.
Which I was experiencing right then. As you spoke, Jim, your words were not matching your mouth. You looked like a badly dubbed Chinese film.
That was my Rita Repulsa impression.
There you go. But yes.
Your tits weren't pointy enough.
Ha!
Fair enough.
But yes, this is our second week of our month-long special here on Around the Pound of our best and worst awards. Last week we did the first 15 bests. This week we are doing the first 15 worsts. And the order, of course, will be myself, Jim, and then Mole, and then repeat.
And if you haven't read the description...
Mole, repeat. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Completely unrelated note. My only one that now wants to... Yeah, my only one that now wants to at some point see Kurt Angle show up. I'd be like, you're impressed with your German suplexes repeat, but I did it first to Shane McMahon. Just repeatedly slam McShane into a fucking plate glass window that won't break.
There you go. But yes, so we're gonna go with award number 1. I will kick it off.
Mm-hmm. For the record, these are the same categories that we did best of last week. So if you want to know what the categories are, you can go check that out.
And for those who watched last week, we are again starting with mode of time travel. And my worst on my list is black hole / wormhole, like what they did in Abrams Trek. And anytime they do that, because that's like one way. I mean, unless that wormhole or black hole happens to exist in the alternate dimension or time you're traveling to, you're kind of stuck there.
To be fair, it worked for SPD Dino Thunder.
Mm-hmm. And it worked for DS9 in the Gamma Quadrant.
But that didn't go into time. That went into another sector of space.
Yeah, the SPD Dino Thunder did.
Well, to be honest, Star Trek kind of ignores the issue of time through the entire series. Because if we're speaking literally the way science works, if you're traveling at faster than light speeds, time is moving differently for you than it is on planets. So Picard and the crew could go on a journey for like 3 weeks to come back to Earth, and it would be like 6 years later. So, yeah.
Fair enough. But yeah, I just didn't like it because it's one way, usually. Like in Abrams Trek, where it was one way and Spock couldn't get home because one way.
Yeah, it normally is, which I can understand.
Yeah, so that's terrible mode of time travel.
Fair enough. I can agree with that.
Moving on to the Interruptor.
But for the record, I missed that segment on Conan O'Brien. That was a hilarious bit. Marcus knows what I'm talking about. He watches Conan. Anyway.
Available now in Lego Batman 3.
Okay, then.
True.
What? It's topical. New York Comic Con's just been. That proves when we filmed this.
Touche. Not that we need to when they could just, look at the date. But anyway.
It could have been pre-recorded.
No, we don't pre-record things and pass them off as live. We're not SmackDown.
Ooh.
Or The Rock.
No, or The Rock.
But yes, your award.
But SmackDown is The Rock show, so it makes sense that would happen. But yeah, I lost my damn train of thought. Oh, yeah, especially when said supposed one-way time travel completely changes the fabric of reality and the timeline as you know it. Yesterday's Enterprise.
Yeah.
A little side problem there.
Yep.
But yes. Hang on, I'm gonna sneeze. Sorry.
Bless you.
Oh, sorry.
Mute, you know.
Sorry.
Apparently Jim doesn't understand the concept of a mute button.
Anyway. My worst sort of time travel, because I thought about this, immediately popped into my mind as, yeah, that I could see why. In the end, it was a okay method, but when it was initially introduced, it was like, wow, this is absolutely terrible. I went with the precursor rings from Jak 2. I know my compatriots have not played that game. Actually, no, that's a lie. Mole played that game. He has the HD version.
I played that game. I haven't gotten very far, but I played it.
I thought you only played Jak 1.
Yeah, to be fair, I didn't play the second one. I bought the trilogy. I thought number 1 was so terrible, I just stopped playing.
Fair enough. You should give number 2 a shot, because it has almost, aside from some familiar characters, it's got almost nothing to do with the first game. It's a totally different game.
Fair enough.
They basically turned it into Jak and Daxter Grand Theft Auto, with less violence.
Fair enough. And what's the problem with these rings?
Well, here's the thing with the precursor rings. As you may remember, Mole, spoilers if you haven't played these games that were released like 10 years ago. At the end of Jak and Daxter with the Precursor Legacy, the first game, if you collected 100 of the 101 power cells in the game, particularly if you're going to play the game, recommend getting them before you finish the game, because then you get the nice little extra cutscene of Daxter at the end after Akira says, "Get 100 power cells to open the door." You get to hear Daxter, honey, we're heroes, remember? We have 100 power cells. But anyway, so if you get the 100 power cells, it opens a big-ass precursor door that has a big white light behind it that they stare at and gawk at and buy the precursors. And the game just ends. You're like, okay, what the hell was that? Because clearly they didn't know what the hell they were doing with the sequel. Aside from Samus's offhanded reference that Golemaya might still be alive that they never followed up on, which pissed me off. Back on topic. At the beginning of Jak 2, we find out the thing they found in there was a little roller coaster car-looking thing and some big rings that Kira somehow managed to move back to Sandover Village and Samus experimented with to figure out what the hell it was. And they had no idea. And basically, they were sitting in the little car thing trying to figure out what this thing was, as Kira was talking about the possibilities of this working or not. And somehow or another, Daxter screwing around hits a button on the console, and it turns out later in the game, spoiler, this is actually a mode of time travel, and they end up 100 years in the future. But we don't know that until much later in the game. But what we do know is that the following happens when Daxter inadvertently bashes into the console on this thing. Number 1, the ring activates and a portal opens. Number 2, a giant-ass monster comes out of the portal and attacks them, with a bunch of little flying minions flying out around him, and starts threatening them and shit. Number 3, the car is then involuntarily launched through these rings with no control over where it's going or when or why. As the crazy car is careening through this portal that kind of now looks like a wormhole portal, they all fall out of the car and end up randomly in different places in reality, and why they didn't end up at different times, I don't know.
Can I just stop you there for a sec, Jim?
Sure.
You don't need to keep saying spoilers, because it's the award of all time. It's obviously going to have spoilers. It's all time.
All time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so basically, they didn't even know it was a means of time travel, but said means of time travel, a giant monster came through and tried to attack them with his minions. Then they got thrown through it involuntarily with no control over where they were going. Then they got thrown out of the car over the course of the turbulence of the trip and landed randomly in Haven City in different places, not even knowing that each other were all there until Jak managed to reunite everybody later. And, yeah, it was really a piece of shit until the end of Jak 2, where Kira conveniently figured out how to run the damn thing and was able to maintain the Deus Ex Machina, sending old Samus and young Jak, who were actually from the future, back to the past to be raised away from the bad guys who could come back to defeat him in the present. And oh no, I've gone cross-eyed.
So, exactly why is this a bad mode of time travel?
Because monsters attack you from it, and you have no control over where or when you're going.
Fair enough.
I find that to be bad mode of time travel. When you have it randomly activates itself just by randomly tapping a thing on the console, launches you randomly, dumps you out because of turbulence, you get attacked by monsters and shit, You know, the precursors are known for leaving a lot of mysterious shit that nobody can figure out how to use, but that's a particularly bad one. And especially
Fair.
given that we see at the end of the game, Kira figures out how to use it and sends old Samos and young Jack back in the thing. I can forgive Jack being a kid, but you would think Samos would remember, oh, this is this thing. I remember what we got here in this thing. My daughter should be able to figure out how to properly use this. But no, nothing.
Yeah, time lag.
Apparently.
It's like jet lag for time.
Pretty much. So it's like, you think Kira would have at least written some instructions for her past, quote-unquote, past future self to use, but no. No.
Fair enough.
So yeah, bad mode of time travel, in my personal opinion. And really all that thing was a Deus Ex Machina to throw them into a future where they could put in a big city and turn it into Grand Theft Auto 3 because that's what was thought at the time, so. Yeah.
Fair enough. On to the mole.
Indeed.
Finally.
Yeah, as you can see with the image, I'm not on camera, but I do have images. My worst mode of time travel, it should have changed.
Black screen of death?
Mole.
Yes.
Or a wrestling ring?
I'm saying I'm seeing Mole in a ring. There we go.
Oh, there we go.
That is the mailbox from the movie The Lake House. It's been a while since I watched this, but yeah, basically Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock exist in different times, and they communicate by putting letters into a mailbox that somehow transports it to a different time, which just raises questions of, wait, so they can never get bills or anything because, sorry, couldn't pay my electric bill, it was sent to the past. I'm sure they get that a lot. It just seemed stupid, contrived, and yeah, the film was not that good. The acting in it wasn't bad. I'm not going to say the acting was bad. Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock did a good job with what they did, or what they had, but yeah, that was pretty shit. So yeah, Keanu Reeves, mailbox.
I do recall a joke on Family Guy once where they made a joke about that mailbox where they showed us, I guess Keanu Reeves is the one that's in the past apparently, and they did this joke where Keanu Reeves put his dick in the mailbox, and then they showed Sandra Bullock opening the mailbox. Oh, my Sausage of the Month package has arrived.
Fair enough. But that was my one. So back to Marcus.
Yes, next award, Mr. Shadow.
Next award, method of space travel. My worst, that fucking god bike from Power Rangers Wild Force. Number 1, should never ever have existed. Number 2, it destroyed Serpentera. Fuck you, Power Rangers. Number 3, it's a motorcycle in space. So unless you're a robot or a Power Ranger, you can't survive on it.
Oh, a bike on Ice and Mars.
They can breathe in space. Well, I guess they're on Mars, so yeah, that makes sense.
Or
a bike is out from Mars.
or a horse wearing a mask, apparently.
Spoiler alert, they're also mice.
Yeah.
But fair enough, I could see
or let us not forget, or a turtle.
it. Yep.
Fair enough.
Only in the Power Rangers continuity. In actual Turtles continuity, no. They still have to have helmets and oxygen tanks.
Fair enough.
Well, at least in the comic continuity. But anyway.
But without any protective gear, they could still breathe being, however many miles above the city in a fucking blimp.
True.
It's pretty thin up there. But anyway, moving along. But the turtle blimp was still awesome. Did they ever release a turtle blimp toy? Because I had a turtle van. I never had a turtle blimp.
We'll get to that later, as I mentioned.
Fair enough. We're going with worst modes of space travel.
Yeah.
So then I'm actually going to go with the opposite of what you just said. I went with Serpentera.
Okay.
Primarily because, it looks cool, but there is no better way to pitch out your badass cruising space dragon than to prove that you can never use it because you can't power the fucking thing.
I could understand that.
I'm sorry, but it was badass. But it looked badass, but your badass factor was immediately revoked by the fact that you couldn't do shit with it. Everybody knew you couldn't do shit with it, so it wasn't a threat.
It was a kind of threat, but yeah, it was. The powering up thing was kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, the reason, of course, being they had no footage of Serpentera doing anything, but
Although it was pretty intimidating when they tried to get the sword.
Yes, that was intimidating because like, oh, they can power the thing. Oh crap.
Yeah. But fair enough. So
Yeah.
over to me.
Over to you.
My one. The pocket rocket. Which is that little dildo looking thing you can see there from Fantastic Four. It's literally a spaceship that had no protection against cosmic rays and stuff when they were going near it. Fell apart the second it lands on Earth. Yeah, okay, it gave us the Fantastic Four, but as a spaceship, it was pretty shit. That was shoddily built. It had to have been made in America.
Well, you saw who built it. I rest my case.
Yeah. But that was shoddy, and it fell apart. Literally, when it lands on Earth, it's instantly destroyed. When they're in space, no protection from any sort of space rays or anything. What the? No.
If
They're
I had
lucky to be alive.
Yeah, if I have the name of it correctly, because I was perusing the TV Tropes website the other night looking for ideas for this list because I couldn't come up with anything and I needed suggestions. I believe I saw a trope specifically, Reed Richards is useless.
No, he's not useless. He's just so smart. He's cocky to the point that
Yeah.
he's like, oh, yeah, I built it, so therefore it's fine. Nothing's going to ever happen to us.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But I give to you, like I mentioned with my picture, the pocket rocket.
Hey, it could have, as Mulk could attest, it could have been worse. He could have killed his 3 friends, crashed on Earth and lost an eye, and then founded a secret organization.
Fair enough.
So, that move
I'm
brings
assuming
us to
Mulk,
war
I'm
number
assuming
3.
Mulk got that comic reference.
I did.
So that brings us to war number 3, ground travel. And it took me a little while to come up with this, and then when it hit me, I was like, oh, yes, why not? I should have gone with this the whole time. And that
The
went
vehicle
with...
hit you? Are you okay? Did you sue? Was Stacy driving?
That would be hilarious, but no. But no, I went with the Spider-Man, or Spider anything, because why should Spider-Man need a vehicle? He is a mode of transportation.
I will say, the Spider Buggy, yes. However, I will say there is one Spider vehicle from Spider-Man that does make sense.
What's that?
As much as I don't like the show, the Spider Bike from Ultimate Spider-Man, because S.H.I.E.L.D. gave it to him so he could transport across the city a lot faster than he could web slinging and not waste all his money on webbing. However, the rest of the stuff is shit. Spider Buggy
fair
and
enough.
stuff, yeah. I hate Spider Buggy, but it's fun to say.
Yeah, a mode of transportation to get across the country quick, I can understand. But just a standard mode of transportation, it's like,
He doesn't need
okay, yeah, he doesn't need one. Number one, he's Spider-Man. Number two, he lives in New York. He doesn't have that far to go.
Yep. It could be worse. They could have given him a giant fucking robot and shitted all over everything Spider-Man was.
Mm-hmm. Also, I'd like to make the point that if you're in New York City, as someone who lives in the vicinity of New York City,
I knew it! You do live in New York City.
as someone who has been to New York City and knows New York City, I'd like to attest that if you want to get somebody through New York City quickly, ground travel on the roads is the absolute last method you want to use.
Unless you're walking.
If it helps, the Spider Bike can go up walls and shoot webbing like long distances the further in his web shooters.
But wouldn't that uses more webbing than they were trying to... That just raises further questions.
Yeah, but it's special webbing that S.H.I.E.L.D. have that can then retract into the bike.
Oh.
So basically, it can get him from like the helicarrier all the way down to the city in like a quick burst.
Fair enough, that works then. But yeah, ground travel in New York City, there's a reason Spider-Man was web slinging, because if he tried to drive everywhere, it would take him 3 hours to get from one end of Manhattan to the other.
It's also because he's called the Amazing Spider-Man, not the Amazing Cabman.
Yeah, pretty much.
That too.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, on to Motormouth.
Okay, I went with the obvious choice, the Turtle Van.
Nice.
By Motormouth, I meant Jim, but that's okay.
Oh, I thought Jim had gone.
No.
I
we
took the
were
Spider.
still talking about the spider stuff. That was Mark's.
Fair enough.
But you can do yours. Go ahead. You already said it.
I went with the Turtle Van. The 1980s Turtle Van, because, yeah, look at it. Does that scream stealthy, serious ninjas, or does that scream shitting all over the original integrity?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Enough said.
Pretty much. Although, despite that fact, I had the toy of that, and it was pretty cool.
Yep, as a and it was marketed to kids. And come on, as a kid, I love that man. I still think it's cool looking. I can understand. Yeah, it doesn't really fit the ages,
And
but
So what you're saying, Marcus, is if it makes a cool toy and a child's product, it's okay. You had Cole's bike.
there is
yeah,
in what he says. Also, I'd like to point out, to be fair, is there anything in the 80 series that didn't shit all over what the turtle stood for?
The name.
Touche. Yeah, I'll admit it. I liked the 80s Turtle show only because at the time I didn't know that was all I knew as turtles.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, I'll admit I liked it as a kid, but it's like one of those things of when you grow up, you put away childish things. Some stuff is shit when you go back and compare it. For example, as a kid, I loved Jason the Wheeled Warriors. Awesome show as a kid, fucking loved it. Cool theme song, keep on rolling. They showed that on Jetix over here a while back after when they were showing Power Ranger marathons.
nice.
Yeah, I watched it thinking, what the fuck is this shit? I watched this? Really? This?
Yeah.
Okay then.
Well, in all fairness, nostalgia goggles aside, a lot of us look back on Mighty Morphin Power Rangers that way too.
Exactly, I've done that before with my Power Rangers. I've been like, this is just a horrible episode. I'm sorry, it is.
Yeah, there's like, what is going on? What the clown is a pineapple? The fuck?
Yep.
It's bizarre. But anyway,
Yes, Jim.
Also,
What did you pick?
yes, I would like to take a quick moment before I go to my pick to say hello to the Queen of Hearts who's watching. Hi, Queen.
Indeed.
Okay. Hello, what's your face?
Hello, baby.
And I'm
So
kidding. I'm going to say hello to the Queen of Hearts, and as I wished it before via typing, I will say it is Canadian Thanksgiving tomorrow, technically today, for me, which is Monday. So happy Canadian Thanksgiving, Queen of Hearts, our Canadian correspondent.
Indeed.
Fair enough. So I had a lot of trouble with the ground travel award. I just came up with it before we started recording. I didn't want to have to use this, but it popped into my head, and it makes sense on what. And I kind of like it because it looks cool, and it's kind of like the Superterra issue. It looked badass, but made no sense or was otherwise ineffectual.
Okay.
I went
It's a
with the
statue of you.
No. I went with the Time Train for Back to the Future Part 3. Because the Time Train looked badass. It was badass. It went against everything that Doc set up in the whole damn series.
Fair enough.
Because the entire point of the series near the end was Doc realizing, you know what, time travel is way too dangerous for mankind to screw around with. We're not able to use it effectively. Marty, look at all the shit you and I have done just in the last, these last couple of trips. You almost were unborn. We completely changed time and put Biff Tannen in charge. I mean, we've done some bad shit. That's why he sends a letter to Marty saying it's too dangerous to time travel unnecessarily. I've realized this. Don't come back to 1885 to come get me. Go straight back home and just destroy the time machine. It's too dangerous. He goes and saves Doc anyway. Doc's like, all right, fair enough. Marty gets back to the present. The DeLorean destroyed by the train. It's by the modern train on the tracks. Okay. It came to an end. Doc's machine destroyed the way he wanted. Everything's normal. Giant-ass conspicuous time train. The fuck, Doc? Okay, it looks badass, but what the hell?
To be fair, on the train he had his wife and his kids, and I got the sense with how they were talking about it and stuff that maybe Doc realizes this and realizes he doesn't really fit into any time anymore, neither does his kids, because that just raises more, that could cause a lot of problems when they grow up and stuff. So I got the sense he was sort of living outside of time by jumping from era to era but not affecting anything.
Yeah, and especially since his wife is supposed to be dead anyway, she kind of has no place. And it to write history, it would make sense to have her disappear.
Mm-hmm. True. Although in all fairness, right now, it wouldn't make a difference. It's Eastwood Ravine instead. It didn't change much. But anyway. Yeah, I just felt like after they went through that whole effort, especially in that movie, to establish that, Doc wants the time machine destroyed. It's too dangerous to mess with time travel. We've seen what it does. Even Doc trying to be extra careful with his time travel, we saw what happened. So it's like, So, it just seemed like it was kind of going against the message the movie was trying to portray of, your future is what you make of it. You don't need time travel. Be happy in the present with what you can do. You can change the future through your actions. And, oh, by the way, time train.
Yeah, which, like I said, I can understand that bit. I just made the case for the fact, like Marcus said, his wife's meant to be dead. His kids shouldn't have existed. So all of that would dramatically alter the future. So he sort of exists outside of it by jumping to era without traveling. Sort of like a traveler who jumps from like city to city but doesn't actually affect the cities he goes to. Hobo Doc.
I would answer that by saying animated series.
I would answer that by saying it's not in continuity.
Is it not? Okay, fair enough.
No. It was awesome, but not in continuity.
Fair enough.
However,
Alright,
I can understand putting that.
Yeah, so it came into my mind, and it's like I liked the time train. It looked really cool. I liked it as a thing, and it even flew and everything because he already went to the future, which was cool. Which, yeah, that's not conspicuous at all. I'd like to have my random glowing train hover converted. Yeah, that doesn't look weird at all. That's not going to affect time. But anyway.
Yeah, it's on
Yeah,
to
so,
award number
time
4, air travel.
Indeed.
My worst method of air travel, RoboCop's jetpack from RoboCop 3. Why does he have a jetpack?
The better question you should be asking, Marcus, is why don't we all currently have jetpacks?
Yeah, well, that
Because
jetpack was
if
shit.
you have a jetpack, you will be defeated by a blind man with a stick.
There's a reference there, but I'm not sure what it is.
Star Wars.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how did Boba Fett die?
Fair enough. Right.
But yeah, RoboCop's jetpack, just one of many things in that movie that should not have existed.
The entire film shouldn't have existed.
Yeah, true. Yeah, it shouldn't have existed without. Oh, God, I forgot the actor's name. The guy who played RoboCop, the original RoboCop.
Peter Sellers or Wellers, whatever the hell his name is.
I can't remember.
But yeah, I think
It's either Peter Weller or Peter Seller or something like that.
I think it's Weller, but yeah, the instant they figured they had to replace him if they were going to make the movie, they should have just shelved it.
To the internet. Yeah, Peter Weller.
So, Jim.
Oh, they should have. Well, they could have possibly gone the Power Ranger route.
Power Ranger route.
They could have just had a scene at the beginning in which RoboCop gets destroyed or taken offline or something, and then made a new RoboCop to replace him.
They could have. RoboCop Mark II. They could give him a hideous black suit that makes him look like Batman.
Really, I thought he looked more like Cyclops, personally.
Okay, I'll give you that. And
There
you
you
know what he
go,
looked like?
Jim.
And then technically it wasn't Batman. He actually looked like Prometheus is what he looked like, but I
A
digress.
little bit. But yes, Jim, air travel. Go.
Yeah, air travel, because probably the most annoying mode of air travel I've ever seen. I went with the Dodo plane in Grand Theft Auto 3 because that plane, fuck that plane. It was a plane that really, unless you were like a master gamer, could not fly.
That was
Worst
hilarious. Though.
plane ever.
That was hilarious.
It was hilarious, but it was a pain in the ass. I mean, I could fly it maybe like, I could fly it maybe out of the airport. And that was about as far as I got.
Fair enough.
You know, I think after a I think I got to Portland once. I think I pulled it off once.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, yeah, that plane was annoying, and I'm glad that in future games we got actual working planes.
Me too. It was annoying to control. I could fly it. I think I flew it far for once or twice, but yeah, it was annoying as hell.
Yeah. No.
Because why the hell do stealthy ninjas need a blimp?
Yeah.
Seriously, why? There's no reason for this blimp. It doesn't need to exist. I rest my case.
Yeah, I will say, if they had just dropped the blimp thing, and if they had just taken the bottom part that they always attached from the blimp and used in combat anyway, and just put some, just use that would have been far more effective. just put have Donatello put like a rocket pack on the back of something to make it fly, and there you go.
Fair enough.
Back to Marcus, next award.
Award number 5, Hidden Base. And I couldn't come up with much for this one. I was thinking. I didn't want to use this one, but in the end it made sense. I think it qualifies as a hidden base.
Okay.
The worst hidden base, I went with the Power Chamber / Command Center from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Because technically it was supposed to be hidden, but it's on a fucking plateau. And for plot convenience, nobody ever found it. I'm like, wait, it's a plateau in the middle of fucking California, and you're telling me nobody can see it on the... No. And it was discovered by the enemies twice and blown the fuck up. So, yeah.
Strictly speaking, it was in the middle of the desert. We don't know exactly where they teleported to.
You know it has to have been within a certain distance of California due to the fact when Kimberly went back in time to the same location, she was able to walk to it.
This is true. This is true. But at the same time, it depends on how you look at it, because remember, that particular monolith exists in the real world. It's a monument. You can go visit it over in California. It's there. So for all we know in the PRU, people think, oh, it's a monument, but it's closed to the public. It's just something there you can go look at. It's just a monument. People don't know that, oh, there's the Power Rangers bases underneath that shit.
Well, which makes it even a worse hidden base because the command center itself is supposed to be inside the monolith, not under it. The chamber is under the monolith, but the center itself is inside, which is why you can't get in unless you're a ranger. But it's like you're telling me, okay, see, that makes it even worse because you're saying in real life it's actually a tourist attraction that people can go into. So you're saying in this universe, people don't go to... why are there no humans there? No. Worst hidden base ever. It's not hidden if it's sitting on... If it's sitting on a plateau.
Touche. I'd also like to make the point that whole needing a power coin thing was pretty much proven to be complete bullshit.
It was.
Pretty much.
You need a power coin, a way to conveniently sneak in the door when nobody's looking, to be made of ooze. I'm sure there's a few others.
Oh, I stand corrected. It was found and destroyed 3 times.
To be fair, Ivan Ooze was in a different continuity, so we don't know if the same rules applied.
Yeah, we do, because
considering they mentioned Zordon found 6 teams with attitude.
Yes, except that right before that happened, for the sake of a joke, in the command center, Zordon's talking to Alpha like, we must fortify the command center. Don't worry, Zordon. Nobody gets in the command center without a power coin. Glop, glop, glop. Well, almost nobody.
Yeah, but they didn't say you need a power coin. It was just Alpha, which means I'm guessing it's sort of like when people say, oh, no one can get in my building without a pass. They can.
Fair enough.
Yeah. However, the other examples do work.
Yes, quite.
Like, so much for your base being hidden, Zordon. But yes, Jim.
Fair enough. I went with a combination of 2, but they go together.
Okay.
Because, yeah.
Together like shooby-dooby-dooby-shooby-doo-wop-doo-wop.
Indeed. But yeah, I went with the 2. First of all, I went with Dr. Evil's secret volcano lair and then his secret submarine lair.
Okay.
The volcano lair, which was on an island, but which had a giant carving of him on the side of it, and the submarine which was in the shape of his body.
To be fair, it's not cheating.
How is that cheating?
It was a parody. He was designed to show how hilarious it is when, like, James Bond villains have a secret hideout, which is clearly a secret hideout. Thus, it was done that way intentionally for the purposes of a parody.
Yeah. Fair enough. I still thought it was funny.
It was still funny, yes.
but at the same time, that's still a terrible base. And at the same time, Austin had to interrogate people to find it, so... No.
Yeah.
I mean, not the submarine. They followed Goldmember to the submarine, but still.
Yeah, I could see that.
Okay. Well,
now on to the Molten Ring.
I went with, which some people may argue with, Batcave. For only one reason.
Okay.
There are other bases that kind of do this, that are since this when they've copied it. But think about this. If someone finds the power chamber, they find Zordon, they destroy the powers. Fair enough. If someone finds most lairs, like the Justice League Tower, they destroy it. Or the Avengers base, they destroy it. If someone finds Batman's cave, because of where it's stationed right underneath his fucking house, they find out his identity, thus kill him. That's a stupid thing to do for your base. Put your secret base miles away from your actual headquarters or home. Norman Osborn did that, for God's sake.
Mhm.
I wonder if Bruce Wayne knows that Batman lives under his mansion. I bet he does. He's such a cool guy.
Yeah. But no, I was being serious. But yeah, I think that's a really horrible way of doing a base, to put it right underneath your home. That's going to give away your identity.
This is true.
Cough. Cough, Tommy, cough.
Touche.
Which wouldn't that not make Tommy's base even worse because far less security?
Yeah, but the Batman one came first, and B, the villains already knew who the fuck he was anyway. In Power Rangers, the villains always know who the Rangers are. They watch them play sports and then choose, oh, this guy's got a phobia for basketball. Let's make a basketball monster and see if it holds a grudge.
True.
Whereas, yeah, if Joker was to find the Batcave, I'm pretty sure Alfred's dead. Just because he could.
Unless, I don't remember, although I've seen a panel of this, I don't even remember what the hell comic this is from. I remember seeing this panel on the internet. I think somebody on Twitter put it up. Except for that one time where I don't remember who the hell got into the Batcave and Alfred blew their fucking head off with a shotgun.
Yep. I'm just pointing out, if it gets discovered, it's extremely risky.
Yeah.
It's inspired other such stupid ones because the people who make it are like, hey, we like people like Batman. Let's copy his Batcave. No, don't.
No. But in all fairness, you got to give credit to Lego Batman for turning that entire thing on its head.
You do.
And moving on.
Indeed.
Award number 6, weapon. My worst? The Gatling guns and missiles on the Batwing in the 1980s Batman movie. Because missiles being on there, fair enough. Gatling guns, don't agree with. But more than that, if you're gonna give him weapons, make them usable. I mean, it says it all. Okay, he's supposed to be Batman. He's supposed to be the guy who can create shit that nobody else can create. And you're telling me he can't make a simple targeting system? I mean, it shows crossing around the fuck. What's that?
I said the guy that can create shit out of nothing that no one else has done. That's not Batman, that's MacGyver.
I didn't say out of nothing. I said he can create shit that no one else can.
MacGyver.
Because he designs stuff. Bruce too, but he's supposed to be all high tech design shit, and he can't design. This is the guy who fucking in Batman Begins, what is it, Dark Knight Rises? They show him being able to fix a fucking ejection mechanism or some bullshit, and in the 1980s one, he can't make a targeting system that operates correctly. I mean, it targets the Joker, who's not moving. And I'm supposed to believe that this targeting system can miss Joker completely with Gatling guns and missiles.
Yes,
Yeah,
because
no,
Batman
fail.
Yes, because Batman doesn't kill anybody.
That don't give him fucking guns with an auto-targeting system.
Warning shot.
Yeah, pretty much.
That was not a warning shot.
Also,
I agree, that would be stupid.
Yes, also I'd like to make a point. That wasn't Bruce Wayne, that was Lucius Fox.
No, at the end of the movie, it's indicated that Bruce fixed it because Lucius was like, it was busted. There was no way he could get out of it. And then at the end of it, when he's going through the systems, he's going through the computers, and it's like, wait, this was repaired. It's like, who was it? He goes to the computer, goes, who was it repaired by? And it pops up, Bruce Wayne. He's like, wait, he fixed it? The fuck?
And technically, also, we're talking about repairing of things. For all we know, it was Alfred using Bruce Wayne's code passwords. Because we've pretty much established that Alfred Pennyworth can do goddamn anything, so...
So can Bruce, but yeah,
I agree. That is stupid.
Yeah, a little bit. Alrighty.
Fair enough. But yeah, just that always bugged me. Even as a kid when I saw it, I was like, wait, that makes no sense. He's targeting him with a crosshair. How does he miss? You can't miss a non-moving target using an auto-targeting system, especially when you have missiles. Ah.
Why not? The A-Team did it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Pretty much,
Anyway,
and I'd have to imagine Stormtrooper helmets have HUDs in there.
Yep. Those stormtroopers
Probably
have
not.
successfully killed people.
Yes, or I'd have to.
Jedi.
Yes, or I'd have to mention the fact that you yourself frequently complain whenever you play a game that has auto-targeting and switch it to manual because you say auto-targeting sucks.
But I still agree it was bad. That was
It
bad.
was stupid. Yes, that was stupid.
Yes, but Jim, your worst weapon.
Indeed. First, since she had to shut her computer and I didn't hear it, Mole, would you like to again give your props to the Queen of Hearts?
Nah, it's cool.
Okay.
No, all I said to you, Tiff, was I just wished you a happy Canadian Thanksgiving. Again.
Indeed.
Yep, indeed.
Close enough for over here because it is now 3 minutes to midnight. So yeah.
It's actually beyond midnight here. But your choice, Jim.
Indeed. My choice for the worst weapon. I have a couple of honorable mentions also, which I'll throw out in a minute.
Don't give that mention mine in case you go that route.
Okay, well I'll let you do yours, then we'll do honorable mentions. But the primary one I went with because it seemed like it really should have been more useful than it was. Of things that I have seen, I went with Loki's scepter from the Avengers. Because, okay, badass looking weapon, but yes, that's a great idea. Make your personal weapon that you intentionally abandon on a rooftop the only thing that can stop your evil plan. You are a dumbass.
He is.
And you're supposed to be the genius god of trickery who looked really badass in Thor the Dark World, but what?
Yep.
Yours, Mo.
Okay. Mine was... Boom. Yeah. The Blue Shell of Death.
Haha, yes.
For Mario Kart Wii, because, yeah, I gave it the worst one in the Video Game Awards when we did that on XGR, but, yeah, that targets the first player on the Wii. There's more ways around it on the Wii U one, but on the Wii, it was ridiculous. It ruined people's fun because it was basically punishing you for being good.
That shit ruined people's friendships.
Yeah, that shouldn't exist. No.
That's
Thank you.
why I hate Mario Kart Wii. Fair enough.
Yes. But you can do an honorable mention.
Indeed, I have two honorable mentions. The first honorable mention I'd like to throw out, and thank you, Marcus, for reminding me of this. Jack's gun staff from the game that I refuse to accept as being in continuity from Jak and Daxter: The Lost Frontier. They replaced his awesome gun with all its modes with a staff, which I like staves. Staves were my favorite weapon. But it was a gun staff, which, okay, it was a staff that you had turned and fired with the same gun attachment, except they changed the Peacemaker out for a Green Eagle thing, which, okay, that was kind of cool, but at the same time, that weapon was unneeded. The gun was fine, and why make it a staff? That's so freaking stupid. There was no reason for that. The other honorable mention, and Marcus might want to chime in here, because I know a particular use of this weapon he has a thorough problem with. I wanted to throw it out to the Defender Vest from Operation Overdrive because, okay, Andrew Hartford built this technology, gave the Rangers Ranger powers with technology. Oh, by the way, I built this piece of technology that depends on a magical dragon scale to function.
Okay, and the problem with that is?
The problem is you're a man of technology. Why would you build something that depends on magic to work when, if you're a man of technology, you shouldn't believe in magic?
I think
I'm just
Batman
saying.
would like to have a word with you.
Well, yes, but at the same time, Batman doesn't build, an armored batsuit that requires...
I would argue,
Dr. Fate's
technically,
powers to work, you know.
technically, isn't that all Power Ranger technology? I'm sorry, Zords, Morphers, weapons and stuff, they're clearly technology, and they normally use the Morphing Grid when they implied it was magic or Mystic Force powers and stuff to run it.
Well, fair enough. Yeah, the Morphing Grid thing, that's true. The Morphing Grid is some kind of force that we don't really understand, and that could be, technology could tap into it, but at the same time, yes, that is still a potential magical energy that's powering everything. But at the same time, it seemed like in most of the seasons where they use technology, things like Lightspeed Rescue, Time Force, SPD, so forth, everything they have is strictly technology-based and built by their respective organizations. It's technology. Yet in this one, everything's built by technology, but then one thing randomly has a magic artifact in it. It didn't really make sense to me.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
I can see that.
Yeah, that just didn't really make sense to me. So that and the gun staff are my honorable mentions on that one.
Fair enough. So moving on to the next category.
Yep, number 7. Lucky number 7, which is only going to have one person talking. Best, or not best, but science to regular guy explanation. And I couldn't come up with anything for this because I couldn't come up with anything. But that's it.
Okay, I have one.
Mm-hmm.
Boom. Power Rangers, because yeah, if you noticed in MMPR and all the other series, whenever the geek like Billy uses technobabble, 2 sentences before it he's talking normally, and he only talks technobabble for the sole purpose of a joke within the show, and it's like, come on, that is fucking ridiculous. He knows how to talk to these guys. He talks to them regularly. He plays sports with them. He does everything with them, and yet he can't just talk in the way he knows they understand. No, he has to talk technobabble, which either A, makes him look like an arrogant asshole who can't get over himself and it's just like, no, I'm just going to show off how intelligent he is, or B, it's badly written. Either way, yeah, that gets my worst.
Fair enough. Moving on to number 8. I'm getting too old for this shit. Or seeing an older person come back in a role. I gave mine to William Shatner as Kirk in Star Trek Generations. Because why? I mean, yeah, when it was announced, I was like, okay, cool. We're going to get Kirk and Picard in a movie. That was fine. And then they gave us that. Yeah, they kind of wasted Kirk. They kind of wasted Shatner, and that made me sad. So that's why he gets my worst. Jim?
Fair enough.
He may be redeemed in the next Trek film.
We'll see about that.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Excuse me. I didn't want to have to do this because I kind of like this special, but at the same time, it was a cheap cash-in, and there was no reason to do this. And yeah, I had mixed feelings about this, but I put it on here. I went with the A Miser Brothers Christmas special.
Okay.
Because specifically, of course, the original was made, like 60 years ago, give or take.
Yep.
And so, for this, when they redid this, okay, fun. The Miser Brothers are popular. I could see why I do that. But the special when it came out, it was nice to hear the songs again and everything. But it felt like a really cheap cash-in, and that felt like it was kind of disrespect given the fact that they brought back 2 of the original actors, the 2 that are still alive, from the original special to reprise their roles. That being one, George S. Irving as the Heat Miser, who is now the only one still alive, because the other one, as the voice of Santa Claus, was, of course, the late, great Mickey Rooney, who passed away about 6 months ago. And it was awesome to see them come back to the roles, but at the same time, number one, George S. Irving sounded pretty spot on. His voice was obviously, it sounded a little older, but it didn't sound too bad. He still sounded like Heat Miser. Mickey Rooney sounded nothing like the Santa Claus we remember from 60 years ago. And it just felt like between that and the fact that they didn't have the original, Mrs. Claus and Snow Miser because they passed away. And it just felt like, given how much they changed and they added all these other entities that were under Mrs. Claus doing things, it felt like it was a cheap cash-in and they kind of cheapened the legacy of the original special. They had the original actors there, and it looked bad. It made them look bad, too, by extension.
Yeah, I could totally see that. They've done that with specials over here, like the Gruffalo recently had, in the recent years, had the Son of the Gruffalo, which wasn't that good. The Snowman had a Snowman 2, which I understand. I will admit I did totally tune in for Snowman 2.
Snowman is allowed. That's permitted.
Hey, the original Snowman was awesome. The first one was awesome, and the second one did not live up to it, but it was still awesome to see Snow Dog.
Come on. It was the Snowman. Good stuff like the Snowman is allowed to make a crappy sequel, but certain things, yeah, I don't even know what the hell a Gruffalo is, but that sounds like a bad idea.
The Gruffalo was based on a book. You may want to look up books. But no, basically, it was like a child's story. It was pretty fun from like the 90s. And like 10 years later, they made a sequel where he has a child and stuff to get a new generation. And like I said, they feel like cash-ins, but at the same time, I will admit, part of me does feel like with the Snow Dog of, I know it's a cash-in, but I'm like, hey, I get to see the Snowman again.
Yeah. It's kind of like, okay, props to you guys for coming back like 60 years later to reprise this role. That's awesome. But at the same time, you're basically enabling this cheap cash grab.
Yep. I will say, for my one, I had two. Okay. Although I settled on one, so I'll give the other one an honourable mention, which doesn't have a photo.
Okay.
First of all, my actual one, Indiana Jones 4.
Yeah.
Because as much as I understood some of the tropes within that and why they did it, which was fair enough, he didn't feel quite like Indy. And it seemed like there was more focus on passing the torch and stuff, which wasn't as good, but yeah, that.
Well, of course it wasn't as good. They tried to replace him with Shia LaBeouf over there.
Hey, to be fair, he's not that bad in it.
Yeah, I was about to say, to be fair, he did a good job, and I think, honestly, Shia LaBeouf would have made a fair replacement for Indiana Jones if they wanted to continue the series with a younger actor.
I can't picture Indiana Jones being nervous and constantly running around going, no.
Yeah, like I said, he would have been a good modern replacement, and it would have worked. It's just I tuned in for Indiana Jones to watch Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
If I don't know, I didn't like that. My honorable mention would be Die Hard, because I loved Die Hard 1, 2, and 3, and they were kind of within the realm of possibility, the stunts they did. But then when it got to the fourth one, it was ridiculous, like fucking sending cars into the air and hitting into helicopters and. I don't know, it cheapened what Die Hard was. It turned Die Hard into a mindless action film, which, don't get me wrong, it was an action film. I'm not going to say it was an intelligent film. It was an action film. It was a good film, but that just cheapened it, the return.
Yeah, I think if they're going to make more of those movies, what they need to do, if they're going to make more Die Hard movies, do a Die Hard passing of the torch. Get like,
I think they have.
Have they? I didn't see the last one.
The fourth one introduced his son, and I think the fifth one, which has come out, because I haven't seen the fifth one, but I believe his son's back in that. I think he's getting ready to pass the torch to his son.
Who plays his son?
I have no idea.
Fair enough. Anyway, I just seemed like it was time to pass that on. I was going to say, if they hadn't canceled it, I was going to say, introduce John McClane's son. I was going to say, use Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who played a young version of Bruce Willis in that weird time travel movie.
Honestly,
Looper.
The person I'd use as a Bruce Willis for this, or like a replacement. This may sound weird. I know he's technically he's a different race and stuff, but I think it could work. I would have gone with Vin Diesel.
I could see that, yes. That would work. And in all fairness, most people think he's white anyway, so.
I don't. Because I'm not blind.
Yeah. Alright, so, award number 9. Transfer of power, or changing of the guard. And for my worst, I went with Justin Stewart replacing Rocky DeSantos as the Blue Turbo Ranger. No. Fuck you, Power Rangers. That was just terrible. It was fucking terrible.
That was
now, if they had waited several years and then decided to use the character, or at least the actor, that would have been awesome, because Blake Foster now looks fucking phenomenal. It's like, I'd love to see him come back as Justin, just because I think it'd be fucking awesome to see him as a Power Ranger. But back then, as a kid, it was just like, this is stupid. What the hell are they doing? And they're telling kids they don't need to get a driver's license to drive a car. Really?
I will say the same thing I've said to Simon. I don't want to see Justin back, because I understand the Power Ranger fans want to see him back because, hey, he's done some conventions and look at him, yay. But it's like, I didn't like the character. I don't care. It's like the guy that played Jar Jar could look like fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger. I don't see Jar Jar more.
Fair enough. But yeah, that was just really, really stupid.
Fair enough. But that
The way
tends
they
to,
did that.
yeah, but unfortunately, that tends to be, that happens to a lot of child actors where they become cool when they grow up and you get to know the actors as opposed to the characters they played. I mean, people hate Wesley Crusher, they love Will Wheaton.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the way it goes sometimes.
Jake Lloyd looks pretty awesome.
He does.
But yes, Jim, your worst transfer of power.
Well, also, since Mo brought it up, I just want to say, hi, Simon.
Yeah, and I will also just say, going from being an annoying little kid into being a cool adult, I'm going to officially refer to that as reverse Macaulay Culkin it.
Ah,
Nah.
Touche.
alrighty then.
Mhm.
So, moving along. With my change of power, I was close to Marcus's. I went with the changing out of the other 4 Turbo Rangers in the middle of the season.
I could see that. I
Because-
put that as one of my awards last time.
Yeah, because it's like, okay, the actors want to move on. I get real life, the actors want to move on. Fair enough. But at the same time, in story, it makes no sense. You have this experienced crime-fighting team who has now graduated high school, so should therefore logically have more time to be able to fight crime. Because, okay, they're going to have college classes, but they're, usually when you're in college, you have, a little more, flexibility and availability in your schedule than in high school. And, more time to fight evil. Whatnot. You got this experienced, crew of Rangers that have been developed for years that know how to do this, and you're going to, almost out of blue, replace them all with these new people that came from another city, which, okay, the old Rangers trust them, but at the same time, you don't really know. You already lost your mentor and his assistant, who already left, and then came back 3 episodes later just for this, which kind of cheapened their departure a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just the whole thing was a clusterfuck and a mess. It wasn't good.
Yeah, it wasn't. Like I said, I hated the part where it told you they were just too old for it. It's like, that felt uncomfortable watching.
Yeah, and I give them that. Okay, the new Rangers turned out to be good. The second half of Turbo was okay, and those Rangers were awesome when they went to space. That was cool. It just felt like it was just the way they did. The concept was good. They just executed it terribly.
I will say I didn't like the replacement Rangers, and even in space, the only ones I liked in space was Andros and Zane.
Fair enough.
They never grew on me. Sadly, I hoped they would.
Okay.
Fair enough. Mole, keep talking.
Indeed.
Okay, my next one. Everyone who's not Eddie Brock who becomes Venom.
Yeah.
I can agree with that.
Because, at least early on in the comics and stuff, and they mentioned this on other stuff too, they mentioned the only reason Venom was Venom is because of the mind of Eddie Brock and the bonding to the symbiote. And since then, they've taken him and they've put that symbiote on loads of people, like Matt Gargan, who was Scorpion, thus getting rid of Scorpion and making another Venom. And then also doing it with Flash Thompson, you see there, and loads of other people. It's like, they shouldn't be Venom. Their mind's not Eddie Brock's. They shouldn't be able to make Venom. They should be something either entirely new, or just put it back on Eddie already. Just put it back on Eddie. Thank you.
Is that the Flash Thompson Venom in the photo there?
It is. That is the Flash Thompson one, who, when you see him there, he doesn't have a mouth and stuff, because, he stays like that until he gets angry like Hulk, and then he turns into Venom.
Okay, then. Because
It's ridiculous, and they also use drugs to help him stay like. It's stupid. I don't like it.
Yeah, because when you put that picture, I first looked at it, I'm like, wait, when did Venom merge with the Punisher?
That would be what if in the comic. What if Venom bonded with the Punisher? And no joke, I have that issue somewhere.
Okay, then, because that's what the photo looked like. It looked like the Punisher.
Literally, what happens is you get Venom with the mouth, but the logo looks like Punisher's, and he has guns. It's kind of awesome as a what if. I will admit, it is awesome as a what if.
That sounds cool. Marcus.
Which would make sense if it's the first emerging, because then Venom, the symbiote, wouldn't have spider ability, so it makes sense. All right, so number 10 out of 15. Yes, Mo?
No, nothing. I was agreeing with you.
Fair enough. Okay, so number 10, actor replacement. And I think Jim can agree with me on this, and if he doesn't have this on as the one he took, I'd be surprised. No offense to the actor, because he's a great actor, but Sir Michael Gambon replacing Richard Harris as Dumbledore in Harry Potter.
That was actually not the one I chose, but yes, thank you.
Just, like I said, he's a good actor, just not right for Dumbledore. I did not like his portrayal of Dumbledore.
Is that when not Gandalf went from looking like Gandalf to looking like hippie Gandalf?
Yes.
Fair enough.
Yeah, he just did not work on any level. He was shorter than Richard Harris, which got rid of the imposing figure of Dumbledore, and because of the way he approached the role, and just because of the way he acts, it's just no, it wasn't Dumbledore at all.
He was a more serious, angrier Dumbledore. He wasn't the Richard Harris, kind-hearted, kind blue eyes behind half-moon spectacles Dumbledore.
I have to ask, just because I really don't like those books or movies, so I never paid too much attention. Did they ever explain it?
Explain what?
The actor swap.
No.
You mean in continuity? No.
No, they just.
I thought they might have gone like the Heath Ledger film. I thought they might have had like Dumbledore cast as like a spell on himself or something, like, and it puts a cocoon on him or something like, or like with the Phoenix when it comes back from the ashes, boom, and he comes back as someone else. So they just explain that he transformed thanks to the spell and just pass it off that way, so it's done.
No,
it's just when the students came back from summer break between the second and third year, all of a sudden Dumbledore shrank and became an asshole.
Pretty much.
Don't you just hate shrunken assholes, Marcus?
Yes, I do.
What was the drum roll for? That was a question.
Yes, Jim, what did you take then if you didn't take that? Because I thought for sure you would have taken that.
No, that was very true, and I'm surprised I didn't think of it. But no, the first thing that came to my mind, because it is probably the most ridiculous instance of this I have ever seen.
Trent as Tommy?
That too, but no. No. Carmelita Fox from the Sly Cooper game series.
Yeah, true.
For the reason, because there are currently 4 games in the Sly Cooper game series. Sly Cooper 1, Sly 2, Sly 3, and Sly Cooper Thieves in Time. In every game, Carmelita Fox has a different voice actress. This would be okay, except that every voice actress not only gives her a completely different voice, but a completely different accent. There is no consistency to Carmelita Fox's voice acting whatsoever in any games. In the first game, she was voiced by Roxana Ortega. In the second game, Alicia Glidwell, however that's pronounced, Ruth Livier in Sly 3, and most recently, Grey Delisle in Thieves in Time. Presumably, she will have another new voice actress when the Sly Cooper movie comes out.
I will say, based on the ones you mentioned, just because of her previous work, I really loved the last one.
Grey Delisle is awesome.
Daphne Blake!
I'm thinking Ventress. Yes,
that too. But plus, it's just a matter of, it's a little ridiculous that, okay, I understand you can't get your voice actress back to reprise the role, that's fair, but when you have to do it 3 times, and at the same time, they all have completely, if they were trying, it at least sounded like they were trying to do the same voice, I could forgive it. When you're blatantly doing completely different accents that sound nothing alike, yeah, that's kind of noticeable.
Yeah.
Yep.
Also, related note, honorable mention to Sparks the Dragonfly in the Legend of Spyro series, by the way.
Fair enough.
Although, and props to them, they lampshaded that shit. Because in the 3 games, in the first game, Sparks was voiced by David Spade, which was tolerable. In the second game, I can't remember who the hell voiced him in the second game. And then in the third game, he was actually voiced by Wayne Brady.
Nice.
Which, going from David Spade to Wayne Brady, yeah, you're going to notice that. But it worked because in that particular game, they actually did a thing where, if you don't know, between the second and third Legend of Spyro games, Spyro and Cinder, the girlfriend dragon, and Sparks the Dragonfly get cocooned in like ice or some shit because there's a giant explosion cave-in thing and they have to do that to survive. Well, they thaw out. It's been a bunch of years, and in that time frame, they basically the world had changed a little bit. It had been a number of years and when they pop out of this thing, they fight some bad guys off, and then they turn to check on each other to make sure they're all okay. And they basically in that game, Spyro turns to Sparks after having after, as I mentioned, having gone through the multiple voice actors of the series, and they turn it into a pretty funny joke because he turns to Wayne Brady, who's now voicing Sparks. As far as the Sparks, he checks on Center and he goes, "Sparks, are you doing okay?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm here. New voice. It's all good."
Yep, and if anyone's wondering who Spyro is, he's the dragon you get free in the first Skylanders game, and Cinder is the undead dragon that was available separately for like $10.99.
Fair enough.
I'm not lying, they are.
You're not, but yeah.
I like the Skylander games.
Okay. Actually, the second Spyro game was actually Billy West voicing Sparks. So yeah, they went from David Spade to Billy West to Wayne Brady, and yeah, Wayne Brady just lampshades it in the final one.
Billy West, shut up and take my money.
Pretty much. And it's basically like it's basically like yeah. And at least they lampshaded it, but that was still really noticeable the voice too. But it was fun. They worked with it.
Indeed. On to more.
Indeed.
I have one, here you go, which does count, but
okay.
I have an honourable mention.
Okay.
But, yeah. For those of you that don't know, a while back, you never used to look stuff up on the internet to find out what happens in wrestling and then complain that you've seen it coming like an idiot. Basically, you were surprised, and Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, aka Razor Ramon and Diesel, they went to a company called WCW. As a result, WWE was like, the then WWF was then basically like, Razor Ramon and Diesel will appear on Raw, and out comes these.
Yes, because Scott Hall and Kevin Nash went to WCW, but they did not own the rights to those characters. WWF owned the rights to the characters, so yeah.
They did. Which... Hang on, let me just pull back up my list for a sec, because I accidentally closed it off. I had written down their names. One of which, I will say Diesel, was played by, I knew that one, Glenn Jacobs, a.k.a. Kane now.
That's gotta be Kane! That's gotta be Kane!
Razor Ramon was Rick Bogner.
Rick Bogner, okay.
And they replaced, obviously, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash.
Yeah.
That may be the dumbest character change ever.
Pretty much.
I don't know what the hell I was watching when that happened. And I was excited because at the time I watched WCW and I watched WWF, and I was like, "Oh my God, Scott Hall and Nash are coming back!" All they actually did, in essence, was tease that Kevin Nash and Scott Hall were going to appear on Monday Night Raw. At the same time, on WCW, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash were invading from another company. Congratulations, you just helped further your rival's story. Kind of stupid.
Indeed.
My honourable mention would be replacing the cast of Smokey and the Bandit for the made-for-TV movies that were meant to be in continuity. Because, I got them on DVD. I bought them because I got Smokey and the Bandit 1, 2, and sadly 3. But I own them, and I found out, oh, cool, they did a TV miniseries. Without even reading about it, I purchased it. Like, I was Smoking the Bandit, shut up and take my money. Because I'm going to do what they say can't be done. And I got it, I popped it in, and I'm watching it. I'm like, this has worse budget than the film that was out years before this. What the hell? Because it looked like shit. The acting was horrible, and it didn't feel like Smokey and the Bandit. It felt weird. But that was my honourable mention. Over to our host.
Fair enough.
Indeed.
So on to number 11, The Extra Guy. And actually, this is another one I don't have anything for. I could not come up with anything for this one. I drew a blank. So on to Jim.
Just because I'm not sure if I have the same one, I'm going to let Mole go first just because I don't want to take his thunder if he has the same one as me.
I don't think you do, but I went with RJ from Jungle Fury. Because I hate that dude. Not the actor. The actor does seem cool, but unlike other Ranger fans, I can differentiate. The character was basically Shaggy from Scooby-Doo as a Power Ranger. It got annoying. It got annoying so much that I hate him worse than Justin. That's how bad I hate that character. It is the worst character in Power Rangers. Thank you.
Fair enough. Jim.
Alrighty then. Okay, yeah. Just because I didn't know if Mole, because I do know Mole hates him, but I thought you might have mentioned this one because thinking back to 6 characters that were terrible and unnecessary, I went with She Who Shall Not Be Named from Ninja Turtles: Next Mutation.
Honestly,
He liked her.
Honestly, she fit the concept of the show, and she wasn't as bad for Turtles as the 80s cartoon was, or the 80s cartoon. It was like, yeah, okay, because she didn't affect anything. Like, afterwards, you still don't see Venus, so I'm like, okay. Within the confines of the show, she was likable.
Yeah, the only thing that was questionable with Venus was incest.
Yes, that and that.
Wincest.
Wincest.
Well,
If
that.
you're into amphibian sex, then yes, it would be Wincest.
Well, it was that, the fact that she had powers, if I recall correctly, and the fact that she pretty much was responsible for saving the day like every damn time.
She
Again,
was.
What's wrong with her having powers? Ninja magic, bitch.
Shinobi magic.
Yeah, Shinobi
Yeah.
magic. None of the others had magic powers, and that's why.
She had
It was
Shinobi
like,
magic. She only saved the day for like the first few episodes, though. Later on, she wasn't saving it as much. It was made by Saban. She was an extra ranger at that point. Therefore,
That's true. Saban made it. I tend to forget that.
Therefore, the second she debuted, like extra rangers, she saves the day. Until which point they're like, okay, you're used to it. Let's put it in the back.
Fair
But
enough.
I will say the incest thing. I've actually argued with someone before now. I don't hate it. Because humans are the only ones who actually care about incest. Animals will fuck their family if they want to, and they're turtles.
Mm-hmm.
Although I will say Next Mutation was actually pretty well done on a lot of stuff, but yeah, the Shinobi thing was kind of bad.
Mm,
In some parts it was bad, like what she did to Shredder.
yep.
Fair enough. That brings us to number 12. Deal with the devil. And I'm fairly certain we all have the same thing. I'm not 100% certain if Jim has it, but I know Mole and I have the same thing. Say it with me. Yes, brand new day.
And
Moving on.
Once More,
What's that, Mole?
and don't forget Once More Day, because Once More Day and
Yeah.
Brand New Day were pretty much
Yeah.
tied together.
Yeah,
There
one
was
more day.
like
yeah.
one was the cause and effect, one was the fallout and beginning. No, it was all stupid.
Yeah, very, very stupid.
Yep.
Yep, it was dumb.
Did you have that on there too, Jim?
I did.
All right, number 13, death. So my worst death, Bellatrix's and Voldemort's deaths in Harry Potter. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, it looked cool, but number 1, it wasn't what was in the books, and number 2, it went against what was established in the movies. It's just like, really? You're going to change it? In the last movie, you're going to change what that spell does. No. Fuck you, David Yates. Because it was established, for those who have seen the movies, it was established, I believe, was it before the 4th one? I know it was established in the 4th one when Mike Newell was the director, but it was established how the killing curse works. And you actually see it used twice, and it just hits them and kills them. It doesn't fucking blow them up and turn them into confetti.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
I mean, literally, when you see it hit Cedric, it just hits him, spins him in the air, drops him like a fucking sack of potatoes. Like it should. Not, oh look, I'm gonna pause for a minute because slow-mo effect, and then I'm gonna burst into fucking human confetti. No.
Nope.
That's stupid. And it looks terrible.
Yep.
Maybe the people they did it to were so powerful, it was an explosion of their magic. Oh, I don't give a shit. Over to Jim.
Yeah. Over to Jim.
Excuse me. Indeed. So for mine, I went with the, I'll bet, brief death of Brian Griffin in Family Guy.
Mhm.
Because I don't know if they intended to kill him off and then bring him back 3 episodes later in the Christmas special. Seth MacFarlane tried to play it off that way on his Twitter, but nobody's really sure if that was the case or if the immediate fan backlash was what made him immediately turn tail and write the episode where Brian comes back. So, either way, it was a stupid idea to try to kill off a main character on a show like that has such a dedicated fan base, because you know that kind of thing is going to make people go nuts.
South Park did it.
True. But that's true, but in all fairness, they didn't kill off a member of a main group.
Kenny!
Yes, but he doesn't stay dead.
He did for a season or 2. That's why they kept teaming up with Butters and Tweak and shit.
Oh, that's right, I forgot
And
about
then they
that.
had to, because where were you when they built that ladder to heaven?
That's right. 9/11.
But yeah, stuff like that always does annoy me, where they kill off a main character and then just... I don't mind if they bring them back, but yeah, whenever they kill a main character, you have to be careful with how you do it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Which brings me to my one.
Very well.
I give to you Catherine Pierce, The Vampire
Okay.
Diaries.
Ah.
Awesome character. She was basically the original. She was, well, not the original, but she was basically the doppelganger before the new one. And she was the one the brothers loved back in the past and stuff. She kept showing up, and when she did, the actress acted completely differently. You could tell which one was meant to be Catherine, which one was meant to be Elena. Great job. Great character. She was like bitchy and in it for herself and just wanted to survive and stuff. Great character. And then they kill her, and when they kill her, she's literally sucked up into a vortex that erases her from existence so she can never return, unlike other characters who have all returned after their death. And then at the end of the season, when they talk about who the hell is dead and on the other side, she's not one of them. She was literally ripped apart. She died in like a really shitty way. Ripped apart, thrown in, like literally erased from existence, and then the next episode was spent about the characters talking about how much they were glad she was dead, and let's just move the fuck on. I hated that. That annoyed the shit out of me. I understand the actress didn't want to keep playing 2 characters. I get that. Kill her and maybe just bring her back as a ghost now and again, like they've done with other characters, or something. Don't erase her from existence and then shit all over everything she was, because that just annoys her fans. I hated how they treated her death. That was horrible.
I can understand that. All right. Also, before we move on, I would like to, as an addendum to mine, yeah, David Yates actually kind of established, without establishing, what the Killing Curse does in his own fucking movie, and then destroyed it at the end of the movie. Because, yeah, great hall, full of corpses. Gee, I wonder how they became corpses. Moving on.
They died waiting in line for the next book.
Oh.
Or they died of shame because they realised they were in a Harry Potter film. Hi! No, I'm kidding. Yeah, they probably died from the Killing Curse, and thus that was stupid. To establish it within the movie and then erase it, that's stupid.
Yes.
Exactly. So that brings us to number 14, Good Guy. Yeah, rant time. Because my worst protagonist, or good guy, Joel from The Last of Us. Fuck Joel. Seriously, God, this is the only game that I've played, the only game that I know of, that basically makes you abject hate the protagonist by the end of the game. I don't understand how anybody actually likes Joel. I don't understand how this game can get a 10, but I don't understand how anyone likes Joel. And spoilers for those who haven't played the game yet. About halfway through the game, Joel gets gravely injured, and you have to play as Ellie, which was awesome. and you don't know if he's going to live or die. He lives, and you have to save Ellie as Joel, which is fair enough. By the end of the game, I was like, Joel, I wish you had fucking died in that hut so I could play the rest of the game with Ellie, and I wouldn't have had to put up with your bullshit for the rest of the game.
That's exactly how I felt with the Walking Dead game with Clementine.
Really?
Yeah, I don't like that bitch. A lot of people overrate it because it was cool fad at one point, but I really don't like her.
Mm-hmm.
And you're playing as her as the main character, and constantly I'm like, I wish you died. I really wish you died.
But, okay, so the reason that I don't like Joel, that I think he is fucking terrible, it goes into the story of The Last of Us, and so spoilers abound for that. Basically, beginning of the game, you have the zombie outbreak, and he and his daughter are trying to run away, and of course, Dick Army, or I can't remember if they were Army or if they were just like SWAT police, whatever, but they're trying to do martial law, and their car breaks down, so they're trying to go it on foot, and the cop catches them and starts to open fire on them, and Joel, of course, grabs her and jumps down. She gets shot, she dies, Joel becomes suppressed, he's lost his daughter, fair enough. And so that's kind of where you start playing as Joel after that part, as just Joel for the rest of the game. So then he meets Ellie, he forms this bond with her, fair enough. He, in his mind, he kind of equates her with his Arcus, about the same age, fair enough. He develops, father-daughter type feelings for her, fair enough, that makes sense. No, and so he feels he needs to protect her. But the thing about Ellie is she's the only human that we know of that can't get infected. She got bit, but she couldn't get infected. So there's something about her that makes her immune to the plague, the virus outbreak. And so the whole game basically is you as Joel trying to get Ellie from, I think it's from like the West Coast to the East Coast, to this university where this doctor is holed up, who has created this way of extracting whatever it is that makes Ellie immune to the virus, so that he can then mass produce it for human consumption to save the human race. Because at this point, if something isn't done, the human race is going to go extinct because they're all going to become zombies and monsters and crap. Except for Ellie, who is, I guess Ellie is supposed to be The Last of Us. They never really say what the title of the game means. Just another issue I have with the game. But, so you're trying to do that the whole game, and you get her there, and throughout the game you find out that, Ellie knows that's her purpose, and you find out that she's going to have to die to do it, because the surgery they perform on her is more than likely going to kill her, because they extract it from her brain. And it's like she's okay with this because she lost family to this plague, and friends and family, and she made a promise to them that if there was anything she could do to save the human race, she would, including sacrificing herself. So you get to the end of the game, and Joel all of a sudden is just like, fuck the human race, I'm not going to let Ellie die. I'm like, you dick! You're willing to sacrifice the human race just because you can't get over grieving about your dead daughter. Fuck the hell off. And this is what she wants. And then as you're going through the hospital to get Ellie, you come across some tapes, because throughout the game you can come across collectibles of like tapes and recordings of people talking. And you come across a recording of the lady who's in charge of this group who was trying to get Ellie there. And you find out that this lady didn't want Ellie to die either. She didn't want to give up Ellie to this thing, but she knew it was the right thing to do, and she knew that it's what Ellie wants. And even knowing all that, Joel's like, no, I'm going to be selfish, fuck the human race, goes in there, no joke, walks into the surgical ward, kills the only doctor that can save the human race, takes Ellie and leaves. I'm like, so not only are you going to half-doom the human race by taking their only cure, but you're going to completely doom the human race by killing the only guy who could actually synthesize the cure if they could find another, person with the immunity. I'm like, wow, you're a dick. Just like, I don't understand the thought process of Naughty Dog when they were creating this character, because this character is not a protagonist. There is nothing to like about Joel. And it's just like, dude, go fucking die in a gutter. Seriously.
Fair enough. My only thought with what would be going through his head would be, he's a parent, therefore he's always going to put what he thinks his child needs above what they want or what other people want. It's sort of like he may have been protecting her, and I don't know.
Yeah, which is fair enough, and yeah, he was protecting her and whatnot. And then at the end of the game, the very last scene, he outright lies to her. I'm like, knowing that he knows that she, is willing to die for this, walks out, outright lies to her and says, "Oh yeah, don't worry, there's someone else. They found someone else." Which, even if they had found someone else, you fucking murdered the guy who devised the way to synthesize the cure. If they had another person, they couldn't synthesize it. No, Joel needs to go die in a gutter.
Fair enough.
But yes, that was my long-winded rant. On to Jim.
Indeed. I thought through this, and I had some trouble coming up with one for this. I was going through things in my head, like really terrible protagonists and heroes that I could think of. And for some reason, the one that just kept coming back to my mind as not even necessarily bad, but just didn't need to be there and was just pretty much useless as a protagonist is Shia LaBeouf in the Transformers movies. Because there was pretty much no reason for him to be there. He didn't really accomplish much except, funny jokes with his parents, or he's trying to bang Megan Fox, That was pretty much all.
He was that linked to the human world, so he was meant to be the audience surrogate.
Fair enough, but I don't know.
I didn't say he was good in the role. I was just saying that was the role he did.
Fair enough. They should have kept Spike.
I think he was meant to be Spike.
Oh.
Yeah. He was Spike.
Yeah.
Spike Witwicky.
Yep. His last name was Witwicky, Sam Witwicky. His father was Sparkplug.
Yep. He was Spike, sadly. But yeah, I agree. He wasn't that good.
No, not.
I was just saying I understood the role, so he didn't need to be there. But yeah, he could have done a better job.
Pretty much.
Yep. On the mall.
Although he's not the worst in that film, I will say Megan Fox was worst.
Well, yeah. She was just there for
Yes, she was. My one, just because of the hypocriticalness that goes on, Batman. While I think Batman's had some great stories, and I do enjoy Batman, one of the key things most people say who are Batman fans is, we like Batman because he's not God-modded like Superman. Yes, he's more God-modded than Superman nowadays. Nowadays, if he has time to plan, he can outthink someone that involves knowing exactly how they were going to react at any given time emotionally, and every single one of their supporting casts to the level of ridiculousness. He survives stuff that he shouldn't do. He's supposed to be a guy with no powers. Stop God-modding him. It's like sort of like the CM Punk Cena thing. He's gone from being the underdog to being the New York Yankees, as CM Punk said with Cena. That's pretty much Batman. At this point, Batman, like in the new continuity, he's the reason Justice League pretty much get together. A load of other stuff, so much stuff evolves around him. He's gone from being the opposite thing of Superman that should draw you in because, okay, maybe some people like Superman because of the idealism and stuff like that, but he's a little God-modded. Batman's supposed to be the opposite. He's supposed to be completely under-modded to the point where it's like a regular person. He's not. He's ridiculously smart, ridiculously well-trained, always has a gadget for everything. He's completely God-modded, and it's really annoying to see. It really is.
Yep, and he's now the poster child for DC, and everything revolves around him. So, yeah.
Yep.
I agree. Right, on to our last award of the evening. The bad guy, the antagonist. And I went with Nero from Abrams' Trek, because, yeah, you get shunted into the past, and your first instinct is, let's blow up Vulcan, instead of, let's go warn Romulus so it doesn't get blown up in the future, because you know it's going to happen. Just like, and Jim and I had a discussion about this before, and yeah, you can't use the excuse that Nero didn't know he was in the past unless he's really that fucking retarded. I mean, come on, when fucking Kirk's ship shows up, Papa Kirk, not Jim Kirk, when his ship shows up, You're telling me Nero wouldn't be able to look at it and be like, yeah, that's old and obsolete. I must be in the past. No. He's actually retarded enough not to notice that? No, bullshit. He knew he was in the past. It's just, you have this big-ass fucking 24th, 25th century mining vessel. Okay, it's a mining vessel, but it's a huge-ass ship, and it's high technology. And you're the captain, and you're telling me you're stupid enough not to realize, oh, hey, I can save my planet and avert this whole thing?
To be fair, if you're walking down the street and a vintage car goes by, it's your first instinct, I must be in the past.
It is if you know for a fact that people don't use that car anymore, yes. Because in Star Trek, in that time period, it's well known what class of ships each faction uses and doesn't use. So if you see someone flying by in like what would be a vintage starship, yeah, either they're fucking stupid or you're in the past. And especially if you then, you've seen Abrams Trek, if you then hail the starship and they act like their starship is the hottest thing since sliced bread, yeah, you must be in the past if they think their ship is the hottest thing.
Yeah.
In all fairness, based on the appearance of the ships in that movie, they look more advanced than the damn Enterprise D.
Maybe. But also, I would think some of the uniforms would give it away, too. It's like, those look outdated.
Yeah, the uniforms probably would and stuff like that, but if he's there to stop the destruction of his home world or whatever, with all the stuff that's gone on, it's like in real life. If someone's witnessed the death of all of their people, it can mess you up psychologically.
Yep. I think he even states in the movie at one point that it wasn't until after he blew up Papa Kirk's ship and they looked around that they actually realized they were in the past. I think when he's giving his evil villain monologue and explaining how shit went down when he got to the past, I think he mentions that.
Fair enough, but that makes him even more dumb, because it's like, okay, so you establish in the movie he knows he's in the past. It's like, and your first instinct is still blow up Vulcan instead of save Romulus? I mean, you're so distraught over Romulus getting blown up that all of a sudden you don't care that Romulus is blown up? How does that make any sense?
Yeah, because remember when he first came through, he started screaming about the death of Romulus, and Papa Kirk, as captain, there was like, dude, Romulus is still there. We don't know what you're talking about, and shit like that. And he still didn't listen to it at first. So eventually I think he did figure out he was in the past, but by that point, yeah, he probably could have gone to Romulus to warn them. But at that point he was pissed off, and he decided, I'm going to wait for Spock to show up so I can kill him, take revenge on him, destroy his planet, and then I'll go save my planet. Because in all fairness, dude has like 150 years before he has to worry about that supernova.
That is true.
Yeah, we see how that worked out for him, because Jim Kirk shot him up and killed him.
Yeah. Nobody said.
So yeah, you doomed your own planet for petty revenge. Good job, dumbass.
Except not necessarily, because theoretically, okay, yeah, Nero and his people died, but Kirk and the Federation now know, in the future at some point, a supernova is going to destroy Romulus. Plus, Spock is alive. Spock can easily go warn the Romulans. Old Spock.
Oh yes, like the Romulans are going to listen to some old Vulcan walking around Romulus. They will fucking shoot his ass. This is Romulans of the past. They fucking hate Vulcans. That's why they left Vulcan in the first place.
This is true.
Spock will die before they'll listen to him because of how old Spock is.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway,
Well, based on what you said, wouldn't Spock have some sort of new technology or something on him where he could prove it? I believe he
if
had
they gave him
something,
half
yeah.
a chance.
Yeah, well, I was thinking if he flew over there in his red matter ship, you know.
I mean, the
Yeah,
Red Matter ship that he destroyed crashing into the mining ship?
Yeah, if he flew over there in anything, if he says to him, I have news about the destruction of your planet, I'm here to avoid it, they'd be fucking retarded if they didn't listen.
They might not believe him, but they'd at least listen to what he had to say. They'd make a recording of it, and they'd shove it in the files and mark it recording about potential supernova in 150 years. And in like 140 years, someone would probably think, maybe we should take a look at this again.
Yeah.
The other thing, too, is at the end of the movie, Spock's all like, yeah, I'm just going to find some nice, quiet part of the galaxy and stay out of the way of your history's development.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he clearly knows it's an alternate reality, so he could fuck with it any way he wants. He decides not to. which I assume includes going to save Romulus.
Well, it's still a reality that should develop naturally, and for all we know, in this reality, there won't be a supernova. We don't know.
Possible.
Romulus might not get destroyed in this continuity. We just don't know.
Depends on how pissed off the Remans get.
Yeah, well, that's another story.
But yes, your worst antagonist ever.
Well, I was thinking about it. I had trouble coming up with one, but thinking about it in terms of, not in terms of worst as a character, but in terms of effectiveness as a villain and originality as a villain and ability to succeed as a villain, I kind of had to go with Bowser. Only because,
How do you know?
How many times
he did succeed? Maybe his entire goal was to repeatedly bang Peach, which, as far as you know, he did.
That is
He probably
possible,
had
but
kids
based
with
on
her.
what we know, his plan was kidnap Peach in order to take over Kingdom and kill Mario, and never once did that ever succeed, yet he kept trying the exact same thing repeatedly in different locations.
Isn't that the whole history of Power Rangers?
They didn't kidnap people, they just tried to destroy people, but yeah,
I mean, repeating the same thing in the same location.
this is true. This is true.
Although Bowser did actually succeed.
Did he?
In New Super Mario Bros. U, he literally goes to the castle, instead of kidnapping Peach, he goes, fuck off, uses a giant hand, and he just kicks them out the castle and takes over. So technically, he does take over.
I did recall seeing that cutscene now.
Yeah, it's kind of hilarious.
Fair enough. I own that game, but I haven't played it in a long time. But,
You own a Wii U?
Wii U. I thought you said Wii.
Yeah, it was New Super Mario Bros. Wii U.
Oh,
The reason he kicked her out is so you could play as Peach.
Right.
I think you could. No, actually, I don't think you could play as Peach. You might have been able to, but if you couldn't, that'd be. Yeah, you could.
I think you can play as
Possibly,
Peach, yeah.
You can
What
in
is she-
no, you can in 3D World. I don't think you could in New Super Mario Bros. Wii U. I don't think you could.
Fair enough.
I think it was Luigi and the two Toads.
That's right. Oh, it was the 4-player one. Yeah, it was Mario, Luigi, and the two Toads.
Yeah, it was this sequel on the Wii U. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Fair enough. That brings us to the mole.
Boom. Now I know some people here are going to say Doctor Doom, but no. I went with Cole from Charmed. Because Cole in Charmed was the greatest thing about Charmed, even after Prue died, which that was sucked in itself, but basically he was the greatest thing about Charmed. And then they fucked him over to the point where he was turning random people into water coolers and just existing and just doing randomly shitty things for the sake of it. And then was all like, oh, I'm going to try killing myself. Oh, but I can't kill myself. Oh, look. And then he tries fucking using a guillotine and shit and nothing happens. It's like, oh, you've ruined him. You effectively took a great villain and ruined him to the point where he became horrible to watch. And I'm going to give it the best. While he may not be the worst, I don't think we had an award down for character development. So because of his development, I'm going to give it to him because that pissed me off.
Fair enough. And I can kind of agree with that, having watched the show.
Yep.
And, yes, just to confirm, Bowser kicked out Mario, Luigi, and the two Toads while keeping Peach there as his prisoner.
Yeah, that's what I was on about when I said, oh, no, and I corrected myself.
Yes.
But he did take over because Mario had to work his way back.
Yes.
But yes, that will do it for us for this week. Those were our worsts.
Although I would
Yes?
say to you, Jim,
Mm-hmm.
what Bowser does isn't that bad, really, when you think about it.
I didn't say it was bad, I just said he was ineffective.
No, because if what he did was truly ineffective or truly horrible, he's actually a good guy. Or why the hell would Mario keep inviting him karting?
Mm-hmm. And golfing, and tennising, and going to the Olympics.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it from the three of us tonight for our first 15.
Just because he's a bad guy doesn't mean he's a bad guy.
Thanks, Jim.
Yep.
Sorry, I had to. Both set me up.
Yeah, you were about 10 seconds too late, but yeah. But yes, so if anybody would like to put comments below about who or what you think should be on the worst list, feel free. Open up discussions with us about maybe you disagree with some of what we put down. That'd be great. Again, comments below, or you can go to our website, expound.proboards.com, and join us next week when we do our best of awards 15 through 30.
Yep.
Till then, have a good evening, everybody, and have a happy Columbus Day tomorrow for those of you in the U.S.
Mhm. Indeed. And that was 16 through 30.
Okay. Happy Columbus Day, the guy that came over there and murdered a Native American. I'm pro-genocide.